Most people assume you must care about big social events to be normal. They assume if millions are watching something, you should be watching too. If everyone is excited, you should be excited too. If the room screams, you should scream too. But some people sit quietly during the Super Bowl. No emotional spike, no tribal rush, no need to pick a side, no urge to belong to the noise. And people look at them like something is missing. But psychology says something very different. Not caring about the Super Bowl is not always disinterest. Sometimes it's a different mental structure, a different reward system, a different identity style, a different way the brain attaches meaning to events. Because most people don't actually watch the Super Bowl for football. They watch it for belonging. The game is just the container. The real product is shared emotion. Humans are wired for tribe. Shared excitement creates social glue. Group cheering creates bonding chemicals. Collective suspense creates emotional synchrony. When a team scores and the room explodes, brains sync, heart rates sync, reactions sync, voices sync. It feels like unity, even between strangers. But not every nervous system is impressed by emotional synchrony. Some minds are built for internal signal, not external noise. These people don't feel pulled by group hype, not because they are cold, but because their meaning system is private. They don't feel larger when their team wins. They don't feel smaller when their team loses, because their identity is not outsourced. Their brain doesn't translate team victory into self-value, and that single difference changes how the entire event feels. For many fans, sports act like borrowed identity. I win when we win. I lose when we lose. I matter when my side dominates. It's not childish. It's tribal psychology. But people who don't care about the Super Bowl often have identity anchored differently. Their self-worth is not group amplified. It is self-generated. They don't need symbolic victory. They want actual progress. Another hidden layer sits in dopamine psychology. Sports spectatorship is a dopamine roller coaster. Uncertainty to anticipation, to suspense, to release, again and again. But dopamine only fires when the brain labels something as personally meaningful. If the brain does not tag the event as relevant, no chemical spike happens. No spike. No addiction. No addiction. No obsession. That's why some people can sit through the entire game and feel nothing. Not boredom, neutrality. Their reward system is tuned to different triggers. They get dopamine from solving problems, building things, learning systems, creating output, deep conversation, skill mastery, not from watching outcome drama. And this creates a behavior gap most people misunderstand. Fans say, "How can you not care?" Indifferent minds think, "How can you care this much?" Neither side is broken, they're just running different reward software. There's also a stimulation tolerance factor. High hype events are emotionally loud. Sound, motion, reaction, commentary, crowd energy, signal overload. Some nervous systems enjoy stimulation floods. Others experience stimulation fatigue. People who don't care about the Super Bowl often belong to the second group. Their brain prefers low-noise meaning, not high-noise spectacle. Too much hype feels mentally expensive, not exciting, draining. They prefer environments where attention is controlled, not hijacked. There is also a control psychology behind it. When you watch a game, you surrender outcome control. You invest emotion into something you cannot influence. For many people, that's fun. For others, it feels inefficient. They don't like emotional investment without agency. They prefer effort-linked reward, input to output, action to result. Watching others compete doesn't scratch that itch. Doing something themselves does. This is why many non-fans prefer participation over observation. Training instead of watching sports, building instead of cheering, practicing instead of predicting. They want involvement, not spectatorship. Another layer is social energy economics. Super Bowl culture is not just a game. It's an event expectation. Watch party, group chat, live reactions, memes, commentary, debate. Social energy required, high. People with selective social energy budgets avoid high-bandwidth rituals, not because they hate people, because they protect focus. They prefer one strong conversation over 20 reactive interactions. Depth over crowd. This personality style shows up across life patterns, not just sports, selective friendships, low social broadcasting, high private thinking, low hype response, high meaning response. They are not antisocial. They are anti-noise. There is also a meaning filter difference. Sports fans attach narrative to teams, history, rivalry, comeback, redemption, legacy. People who don't care about the Super Bowl don't emotionally bind to symbolic narrative. They bind to personal narrative. Their story is not, did the team win? Their story is, did I move forward? Meaning must be personally lived, not collectively observed. This is called internal meaning orientation. It produces people who are less influenced by crowd emotion and more influenced by internal standards. There is also a comparison psychology angle. Sports culture encourages comparison. My team versus yours. Our record versus theirs. Our dominance versus their failure. Some minds reject comparison frameworks entirely. They don't enjoy win-lose emotional structures unless personally relevant. They prefer growth frameworks, skill frameworks, mastery frameworks. Compete with yesterday, not strangers. For them, sports rivalry feels emotionally primitive, not because they are superior, because their motivation architecture evolved differently. Another quiet truth most people don't say out loud: some people don't care about the Super Bowl because they don't like emotional outsourcing. Outsourcing emotion means letting external events dictate your internal _toggle. Win equals joy. Loss equals sadness. Call equals anger. Penalty equals outrage. Indifferent personalities resist emotional remote control. They don't want their nervous system tied to broadcast events. They choose emotional sovereignty. That word matters. Sovereignty means your state is self-governed, not externally triggered. There is also a commercialization awareness factor. Some psychologically analytical people see the Super Bowl as engineered attention capture, advertising concentration, mass persuasion event, emotion plus marketing fusion. They can't unsee the structure. Once you see the machine, the magic weakens. They watch the system, not the spectacle. And when you watch the system, emotional immersion drops. This happens with many things: magic tricks, political theater, influencer culture, viral hype. Understanding mechanics reduces emotional spell power. It doesn't ruin joy. It changes how joy is triggered. Another layer sits in belonging psychology. Many fans say, it's about being together. True, but belonging has multiple forms. Some belong through tribe rituals. Others belong through shared projects. Others belong through intellectual circles. Others belong through creative collaboration. If your belonging style is not ritual-based, the Super Bowl doesn't serve your connection need. You connect differently, and that's psychologically valid. There's also a solitude tolerance factor. People who don't care about big spectator events often have higher solitude comfort. They don't fear missing out. They don't panic at cultural absence. Their brain does not translate not participating into social danger. This trait is linked with emotional independence and lower herd anxiety. They don't need to be where everyone is to feel okay. That's not arrogance, that's autonomy. Another hidden trait appears often: delayed reward personality style. Sports hype is instant emotion, immediate payoff, short cycle reward. Delayed reward personalities are wired for long arc satisfaction, long projects, slow mastery, quiet progress. Fast emotional spikes don't interest them. Long transformation does. This shows up in reading long books, building skills, training alone, learning deeply, practicing discipline. The same brain that ignores the Super Bowl often excels at sustained effort because it isn't chasing quick emotional sugar. Here's the twist most people miss. People who don't care about the Super Bowl are not trying to be different. They are just not emotionally programmable by the same triggers. Their buttons are wired elsewhere, and that wiring often produces higher focus tolerance, lower social pressure, reactivity, higher private identity, lower hype, susceptibility, higher internal regulation. They are not outside culture, they are less controlled by it. If you are one of them, you've probably heard, "You're missing out, you're boring, you're disconnected." But psychology says something else. You might simply be internally anchored instead of externally activated. And that's not weakness, that's structure. If this kind of deep psychology breakdown helps you understand human behavior better, and maybe understand yourself a little more clearly, stay with this channel. Subscribe if you like mind-level insights like this. Comment which psychology topic you want next. Share this with someone who thinks differently but never had the words for it.